Help me!
Long live the king.
Here's a truth you may never have considered. Simba's reign was never meant to last. Not because he failed, but because the legacy he inherited was already broken. Behind the sunrise pride and roaring legacy, the Lion King hides a truth Disney never fully explained. There were lions before Mufasa, important ones, and they're gone. This is the story of how Simba's bloodline, the so-called royal lineage, was fractured, rewritten, and quietly erased. Not by villains, but by history itself. When we meet Mufasa, he seems like the beginning of everything. Wise, strong, kingly. He teaches Simba about the circle of life, about duty, about balance. We're meant to believe this tradition stretches back unbroken, father to son, lion to lion, from the dawn of the Pride Lands. But here's the truth. There's no proof of any lineage before Mufasa. No graves, no mentions, no ancestors. Even in the Lion Guard lore, where Rafiki keeps records of past kings, we get silence, a gap. It's as if Mufasa wasn't just the king, he was the reboot, which raises one massive question. What happened before him? Fan theories, and even unused concepts from the Lion King development hint at a darker past. According to early drafts and backstories developed for merchandise, books, and spin-offs, the Pride Lands once faced chaos, rogue lions challenging for power, Pride Rock nearly abandoned, hyenas roaming free long before Scar's reign. One theory suggests that Mufasa wasn't born into royalty, he earned it. He may have been the first lion in generations strong enough to restore order, which would mean there was no king before him, just a broken land, waiting. This explains the almost sacred awe animals have for Mufasa. Why even Rafiki speaks of him with near mythic reverence. Why Simba must learn to live up to a name that carries so much more than one lifetime. Because Mufasa didn't inherit a throne, he built one.
Well, as far as brains go, I got the lion's share, but when it comes to brute strength, I'm afraid I'm at the shallow end of the gene pool.
And then there's Scar, often dismissed as the jealous younger brother. But even his name, Taka, in expanded lore, tells a different story. In Swahili, Taka can mean garbage or desire. Not exactly royal, but in some versions of early Lion King lore, Scar was meant to be Mufasa's cousin, not his brother, and a descendant of a prior line, a forgotten line, one that may have ruled and fallen. That would make Mufasa the child of a new regime, and Scar, a bitter remnant of the old one, which redefines everything. Their rivalry isn't just personal, it's political. Two bloodlines, one rising, one erased, and Scar's actions, not just about power, about vengeance for being left out of history. Now let's explore how Simba's return wasn't a restoration, but the beginning of something entirely new, and why Kiara might be the only one truly carrying the legacy forward.
Hey! Where are you going? I'm going back! Good! Come on! Get out of here!
At the end of The Lion King, Simba climbs Pride Rock, roaring into the storm. It's framed as a return, a prince becoming king, a legacy restored. But look closer. He didn't inherit a kingdom, he reclaimed a ruin. The Pride Lands were scorched, the animals were gone. The circle of life was broken. There were no advisors, no royal court, no family beyond his mate and Rafiki. Simba wasn't stepping into a role, he was starting from scratch. In fact, Simba spends much of his adult life haunted, not just by Mufasa's death, but by the weight of what he's supposed to represent. You can feel it in The Lion King too, Simba's pride, where he clings to tradition he barely understands. He fears outsiders. He hesitates to trust. He watches Kiara with suspicion because deep down, he doesn't know what a healthy legacy looks like.
Till the Pride Lands ends, Lion Guard defend!
Now enter the Lion Guard, the Disney Junior series meant to fill in the gaps. In it, Simba has a son, Keon, who leads the Lion Guard. And for the first time, we hear of generations of royal lions who've passed the power down. But where are they? If there were royal lions before Mufasa, where are their names? Their graves? Their influence? Even Rafiki, the keeper of tradition, rarely speaks of kings before Mufasa. The series even introduces Scar as the former leader of the Lion Guard, but he's presented more like a cautionary tale than a fallen prince. It's almost as if the Lion Guard is trying to patch a hole in the narrative, a gap Disney can't quite explain. Because if the bloodline is unbroken, where's the history? And if the bloodline is broken, what does that make Simba?
Oof.
In Simba's pride, everything shifts. Kiara, Simba's daughter, is poised to take the throne, but her destiny isn't about ruling over a kingdom, it's about healing one. She falls in love with Kovu, a lion raised in exile, a child of Scar's legacy, yet not Scar's biological heir. Kovu was chosen by Zira, Scar's most loyal follower, but he was born after Scar died, no blood relation, which means the bloodline ends with Simba, unless you see Kiara and Kovu's union for what it really is, a merging of stories, a healing of fracture, a final act of rewriting the past. Simba passes on a throne he rebuilt. Kiara receives it, not to continue the same story, but to begin a new one. But if the royal line began with Mufasa, why do some fans think it was cursed from the start? It's time to explore the deeper symbolism behind the Lion royal family, and the eerie signs that their reign was always doomed to collapse. The circle of life is meant to be beautiful, a poetic system where everything has its place, where death gives way to life, and every king becomes the grass that feeds the antelope. But if you really think about it, the royal line depends on death. Every king rises because the one before him has fallen. There's no abdication, no retirement, just tragedy. Mufasa dies, Simba flees, then returns only when the kingdom is already ruined. Scar is overthrown by violence. Zira dies trying to keep power alive, and Simba himself, in the Lion Guard, lives with constant visions of Mufasa, almost like a ghost hanging over every choice. This isn't a peaceful monarchy, it's a cycle of collapse, and Disney's messaging, though hopeful, never escapes that truth. The bloodline is always on the edge of breaking. Pride Rock looks majestic, a towering monument at the center of the savannah. But what if it's more than a symbol of power? What if it's a symbol of the burden that comes with it? Every king must climb it. Every king must roar from its edge, and every king eventually dies because of it. It's not just a throne, it's a stage, a spotlight, a place where destiny demands a performance, no matter the cost. And once you fall from it, like Mufasa literally does, the only way forward is for the next lion to climb over your shadow. That's not a legacy, that's a curse. There's one more haunting clue, the great kings of the past. Mufasa tells Simba they watch from the stars, that they'll always be with him. But when Simba is lost, the stars are silent. It's only when Rafiki intervenes, when Simba looks inward, that Mufasa appears in the clouds. And even then, it's not truly a conversation, it's a command. The past doesn't speak, it instructs, demands, pushes, and when Simba asks for guidance later in life, the ancestors are silent again. In the Lion Guard, Kion speaks with Mufasa, but even then it's cryptic, limited, distant, almost like the bloodline is growing fainter, as if the magic is dying out. But what if the forgotten lions didn't just vanish? What if they were erased? In early drafts of The Lion King, there were plans to explore a broader royal history. One scrapped concept showed Mufasa speaking to more than one ancestor, a council of former kings who offered guidance, conflict, and even judgment. But these scenes were cut, and in every version of The Lion King that made it to screen, Mufasa is the only spirit to ever appear. Why? Some believe Disney didn't want to confuse younger audiences. Others think it was simpler, narratively cleaner, to present Mufasa as the ideal. But cutting those scenes had consequences, because now, instead of a living royal tradition, we're left with a mystery. Where are the others? If the great kings live in the stars, why is Simba so alone? It's easy to miss, but the original Lion King wasn't just about Simba taking his place. It was about breaking a cycle. Hakuna Matata wasn't just a joke. It was a rejection of the past, a life without pressure, without legacy, and Simba for a moment chooses that. He chooses to live as himself, not as a king, not as a prince, just as Simba. But the story pulls him back, because stories like this, like royal lineages, chosen ones, and sacred mountains, don't let characters escape. They demand they fulfill the past, even if that past is missing. Here's the quiet truth hidden behind the roars and rituals. There is no unbroken bloodline. There is no flawless legacy. What Simba inherits isn't a dynasty, it's a burden of memory, of myth, of pressure to be something more than himself. And what he passes down to Kiara isn't power. It's a hope that she'll build something different. In that sense, The Lion King isn't about continuing a legacy, it's about rewriting one. Because if there were forgotten kings, erased histories, and broken lines before, then the only real legacy that matters is the one they choose to create together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to show some love by giving it a like. And if you want more emotional truths and untold stories from the world of animated films, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. You'll join a community of movie lovers who see beyond what's shown and never stop looking for what's hidden behind the screen. See you in the next one.